We love our professors. We're obsessed with our professors. Have you ever looked them up on ratemyprofessor.com? Well, I have. I invited my Instagram followers to answer me how much they let ratemyprofessor.com influence their decision in choosing a class. From 1% of Rainbow to 100% of Rainbow, the average was about 65%. So I convinced a couple of professors to participate in this video project to talk about their reflections and the thoughts on their students' comments and working with students. Most of the professors that I emailed said no, but here are a couple icons we love. Let's take a look.
So this is not for non-science majors. This is actually for math majors. This is a required class for math majors. It's a very hard class.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of students find it difficult. It's a 300 level, very theoretical class. So it says, Ethan is a nice guy and clearly extremely intelligent, which is why I suppose he has such high expectations for his students. Was thoroughly confused throughout the whole course, and while he was willing to help, the material was still not very clear to me. He goes very fast and his exams are kind of miserable, but tries to help as much as he can. Somebody said that I deserve a far higher rating on this site, but then other people said I was terrible. So, it's kind of it's what I expected. Obviously, it's not fun to read when people don't like you, but what can you do? So this is a good one. Ethan Bloch is an incredibly enthusiastic professor. He obviously loves math, loves is spelled in all capitals, which helps me be interested as a student just trying to get this distribution credit. He tries hard to get the students to understand and makes himself available outside of class. A fast talker and sometimes a little disheveled, but a great teacher. That's funny, okay. So a little disheveled, yeah, that's probably true, yes. What can I say? I'm a mathematician, I don't pay so much attention to looks and all that. Okay, that's fair, yeah. Well, I think I talk normally, but everybody tells me I talk fast. I don't try to, but I think what happens is when I get excited about something, I talk faster. And I think all the math that we teach is really cool. So I think I get excited about it and I go a little fast. But
oh yeah, this is a good one from April 28th, 2007. A very inconsiderate person and poor as a professor. She tends to only give good grades to projects that reflect the contemporary video art scene that she is part of. Any other styles of film video making are, for the most part, dismissed by her. She will not even give proper criticism. When I say dismissed, I mean, in caps, completely passed over. So yeah, someone very unhappy. I think that's the very worst one I got. My quality is awful. So someone is mad at me, for sure. Okay, May 21st, 2010. Very helpful. Good critiques. It's dedicated to you if you care about your work. Hard grader if you slack off or don't show up. Okay, so I actually know who wrote that one because I wrote that one.
No way.
Yeah, of course I did.
You wrote that review about yourself?
Yes, of course I did.
This is a game changer. Guys, this is a game changer. You just outgamed the game.
What?
This is great.
Can I? So I kind of wanted people to think that about myself. I wanted them to think I was a hard grader if they slacked off or didn't show up. So there it is.
I absolutely love that.
Okay. Oh, wow. May 10th, 2006. Guys, she's not a good professor. As in, it's wonderful to listen to her talk, but what a bully. Kind of cool to read some wacky stuff. She picks favorites and treats the other with a high nose. Ambiguous expectations on essays and tests, dare I say, kind of fake. Don't take her 3-hour class. Are you crazy? She will assign a 20-page paper. So I had a very shy student once, and it was a very hard semester for me. I had 3 classes plus another class in Kingston, and I was pretty overwhelmed. And so this student was very shy, and she never ever spoke in class, ever. So I said, why don't you write a little essay for me instead of talking? But then I got so overwhelmed that I didn't read the essays. She would write them, and I just thought it was an exercise for her. And oh my God, was she upset at me? And I think she told me she was going to write something horrible, and she did write something horrible. But I really learned something. I learned that you don't ask someone to do something if you're not going to take it seriously and read it and comment. And so that was really a good lesson.
Interesting.
I mean, I regretted so much to have made her do this extra work. I convinced myself it was for her, but I learned that was bad. And that was thanks to Rate My Professor. If Rate My Professor didn't exist, maybe there would be less accountability, even though sometimes you feel that, whoa, this is just like whatever those things, you get someone to repair your washing machine, and then you write some horrible review, and it's a kind of capitalistic move. Well, I pay for my education. I should get exactly what I want. I got a bad grade, so I'm going to rip this person to shreds. That's horrible.
Yes.
Oh my God, 1 minute. There's one that is even worse. Okay, she's pretty and interesting to listen to and has the same taste as most Bard students, hip literature and philosophy, but she does not teach anything, offers no direction in discussion, wants papers to be a very specific thing that she cannot articulate, and just rambles about the private lives of Rousseau and Dostoevsky. Okay, I avoid reading Rate My Professor, but I have a very large family in France, and they love reading my Rate My Professor. And so, especially one of my sisters who, sometimes has been a little bit competitive with me. So she finds the worst Rate My Professor. So I know that one very well about Rousseau's love life, because at family gatherings, when people are happy to see me, I've come all the way to America, she'll say, she's not such a good professor. All she does is talk about Rousseau's love life. So I have been burnt beyond Rate My Professor into the privacy of my own family. It has come to bite me back. I was obsessed by my professor. Obsessed. I mean, I had a professor, I thought he was just God Almighty. And I asked him, I was so nervous. I said, oh, I'm going to France. Do you need anything from France? And I thought he was going to say, I would like the first edition of Goethe's letters or whatever. And he asked me for some cream for his nose infections. That was it. The cult of that professor was over after he asked me for that cream.
I'm Ed Halter. I am critic in residence in the Film and Electronic Arts program at Bard College. And I'm here in my apartment in Brooklyn during COVID times.
What happened to the Chili Peppers?
Oh, the Chili Peppers. I remember that after the Me Too movement occurred, they Chili Peppers off. They used to have Chili Peppers where you could rate a professor how attractive they were. You got like 1 chili pepper, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that to me was the most interesting. That's the most exciting part of it, right? Chili pepper.
And 4.1 out of 5. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. It's I guess it's okay.
So it's basically like 82 out of 100.
I mean, yeah, sure, I'll take it.
That's like a B-.
Yeah, I would take it. Well, Halter talks very eloquently. Sure. Okay, fine. Whatever. And knows a lot. Of course I do. I'm 3 times as old as you are. Of course I know a lot. And there are hardly any assignments in this class, so you definitely can't screw up. Now, right there, that tells you this is a student that screwed up. So, right, they're just like, I screwed up. It takes a very long time to get graded assignments back. Honestly, that sometimes is true, and I am not proud of that, and I'm happy to work, and I try very hard to work on this. Don't expect to get any personal help from him. Okay, that's total bullshit. I say all the time in class that anybody can make an appointment with me and meet with me. Many people meet with me for personal help. I say that all the time. And if a student isn't listening in class and doesn't hear me say that the 7,000th fucking time, well, that's not my issue, all right? He gets very mad easily. He gets mad very easily, and his attitude a lot of the time was very off-putting. Okay, so the first one, he gets mad very easily. Yeah, actually, sometimes I do. I'm not going to, like, for outside reasons, last semester I was under a lot of emotional stress. There were personal things happening in the department that were extremely stressful for everybody emotionally, and maybe I was mad more often that semester, and I have to say I'm not proud of that, but I also know why. Maybe that semester I was more peevy, all right? And then to the second point, his attitude a lot of the time is very off-putting. This is something people tell me all the time that I don't understand, but people always tell me that I'm off-putting, I'm intimidating, I'm this and that. I don't understand it. I don't get it, and so I don't really know how to change whatever it is I do because I don't understand why people say that.
I think they were intimidated by your humor.
Why is that intimidating? It's supposed to be the opposite. You know, I had a difficult first year of college, really bad, because I didn't adjust to college well enough, and after a while you do adjust. So what I'm saying is if this person could go back senior year and think about my class, I think they will see that actually it was a good class and that they learned. You were absent and you were late all the time. I remember.
You remember? No, you.
Yes, because you always sat in the front row, and also because your name is Big Kitty, and I don't forget somebody whose name is Big Kitty. All right, that's not a human name. That is a cartoon character name or something.
That's me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have to read this one because I don't understand this one at all.
Okay.
This is from 2014. Quality 3.5. Ed is immensely knowledgeable in his field. Sure. D the readings. I think that meant do the readings, but it just says the capital D. D the readings. Attend all the screenings and take notes. You will have no problem getting an A. All right, maybe. I don't know if you'll have no problem. That really depends on you. But I would say you're definitely not getting an A if you don't do those things. Sure. However, Ed makes it clear. This is the one I don't understand. However, Ed makes it clear the class is not a priority. I'm not sure what that means. He shows up late and told our class, I'm doing this for the money. He's easily frustrated and sarcastic. Also took 3 months to grade final essay. Okay, again, in 2014, I bet I was terrible and was very late with those papers. I bet that is true.
What was going on in 2014?
I don't know. I'm just saying it's a long time ago, and
okay.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So maybe that's true. However, this thing about I told the class I'm doing this for the money. Absolutely, I have no idea what that means. Why would I say?
Have you not said that in class?
I mean, I can't remember. Or it's possible I may have said it as a joke, but why would someone think that was true? Also, I also wonder, the lateness thing made me wonder because I couldn't really figure it out because I truly am not, you've taken my classes, I don't come in late. But you know what I often do is I often wait for students too long who are themselves coming in late. So I'm just going to throw that back on the students. That then at a certain point, I was like, maybe that's what they don't like. They don't like that I'm waiting to start the class, which I also understood because if you show up on time, which is not something you would probably understand, but if you do show up on time as a student, maybe you're like, hey, I bothered to show up on time. I want the class to start on time. And I don't want you to wait 5-10 minutes for those other students.
So is it true there's a rumor that you can have bad comments deleted if you want to as a professor?
yes, I've actually had a bad comment. Myself and another professor simultaneously got bad comments. And the weird thing about the comments was that they were about classes we didn't even teach. So we were like, what the heck is this? So I reported them and they got removed.
Oh, okay.
I understand. If I were in college, I would definitely look at Rate My Professor. But kind of like with Yelp, you have to be an informed reader and kind of really think about what these things really are. You know what I mean? I was telling you before that I feel like they don't make as much sense in a small school because you just don't get that many responses. And so the responses are usually someone who either really liked the class or really didn't. You don't get a lot of in between. That's why that average one was kind of interesting. You don't get a lot of people who bother in between really hating, really liking. So I feel like in a really big university where there are like 300 person classes, then you could really get some idea of what the classes are like through that information. Like I've peeked onto like big state schools and stuff and looked, and it's a totally different game. You get like hundreds and hundreds of reviews.
Wow.
And I feel like you can really get something out of it. Whereas, these you see like, one review every 3 years or something. It's like, what is that really telling you? I mean, maybe it tells you a little bit, but you got to take it with a grain of salt kind of thing.